You know that feeling so many of us have today that we're kind of spiritually adrift, searching for something more? Well, what if the solution to that feeling came from a really unexpected place, a 19th century Persian prison? Today, we're going to explore the teachings of a figure named Baha'u'llah, whose message offers a powerful and maybe surprising vision for our future. Let's dive in. We're going to start with, well, probably the biggest question there is. It's one that has challenged everyone, from ancient philosophers to modern thinkers. It's that fundamental, human search for meaning. And right now, that search for meaning feels more intense than ever. I mean, think about the paradox we're living in. On one hand, we've achieved incredible material progress, scientific breakthroughs, amazing technology, and more freedom than ever before. But on the other hand, there's this growing sense of spiritual emptiness, fueled by materialism, conflict, and just a whole lot of anxiety. Now, this is where Baha'u'llah's teachings introduce this really powerful metaphor to explain what's happening. Picture humanity as a bird. With all our scientific and material achievements, we've developed one magnificent, powerful wing. But, and this is the key, it's only one wing. So we can flutter and struggle, but we can't actually soar. We're stuck on the ground, unable to reach our true potential. So where on earth did this message come from? Well, its origin story is every bit as dramatic as the message itself. This wasn't something thought up in a comfortable study or a quiet monastery. It was born in one of the most brutal prisons of the 19th century. So Baha'u'llah was born into the Persian nobility, but he gave up a life of ease and wealth for his beliefs. And his journey, as you can see here, started in 1852 in this notorious underground dungeon in Tehran called the Black Pit. And that was just the beginning of 4 decades of constant persecution and exile across the Ottoman Empire, ending in the harsh prison city of Akka. It was right there, in that dark prison, in the absolute depths of despair, that he experienced the beginning of his mission. He didn't describe it as a voice he heard, but as this overwhelming physical sensation, a mighty torrent of revelation that flowed over him, setting every part of his body afire. And it was this profound experience that gave birth to the solution for that one-winged bird we were talking about. This is the key to understanding our place in the universe, the idea of the second wing. Okay, so here's the core of the teaching. Baha'u'llah explains that there are 2 parallel realities. First, you've got material reality, which is governed by objective laws that we figure out through science. This is our first wing. But then there's also a spiritual reality, which is just as real and just as lawful. And we can understand that through what he called true religion, a faith that actually works with science and reason, not against it. It's when you bring these 2 together that humanity gets its second wing, and we can finally take flight. So, that's the big picture for humanity, but how does it apply to us, to you and me? Let's zoom in now from the collective to the really personal, the journey of the soul. What's our part in all this? At our very core, we find the soul. It's described as a heavenly gem, this eternal reality whose whole purpose is to know and love its creator. The teachings say it's not just a part of us, it is our true self. So our life's journey is really the journey of our soul. And inside each of us, there's this constant tug of war between 2 different natures. We have our higher spiritual nature that pulls us toward things like love, mercy, and justice. But then there's our lower material nature, pulling us towards selfishness, untruth, and cruelty. The path we choose to follow, well, that determines everything. It's the difference between becoming a saint or, as the writings put it, becoming no better than an animal. This brings us to another brilliant metaphor for our life's purpose. We are each like a finely crafted sword, just full of potential, but it's hidden away inside the sheath of self and desire. Our job, the choice we have to make every single day, is to draw that sword out, to polish the mirror of our soul so that our true spiritual qualities can finally shine through. Okay, so how do we actually do that? How do we polish that mirror? This isn't just some abstract philosophy. The teachings lay out a really practical path for turning that spiritual potential into a reality you can live every day. Spirituality, in this sense, is expressed through your character. I mean, look at this list. It's not about retreating from the world. It's about engaging with it head-on. Being generous, being fair, being a defender of the oppressed. These aren't just nice ideas. They're considered the active expression of a polished soul. The writings also lay out a pretty clear path for how we can develop spiritually. It all starts with knowledge and love, which then leads to faith. But that faith has to inspire real, tangible action, doing good for others, sacrificing for a greater cause. This whole process helps us detach from purely worldly things and helps us cultivate sanctity and holiness. This is the path to preparing the soul for its eternal existence. And pay close attention to the definition of faith here. It's explicitly not blind belief. It's actually a two-part equation. First comes conscious knowledge, using our minds and our reason to investigate truth for ourselves, and second comes the practice of good deeds. True faith is when understanding gets translated into action. And this idea brings spirituality into every single moment of our lives. This teaching basically says that our daily work, whatever it might be, can be raised to the level of worship, as long as it's done in a spirit of service. A doctor healing a patient, a carpenter perfecting their craft, a scientist searching for knowledge. When you do it to help humanity, it becomes a form of prayer. So, what's the ultimate goal of all this individual transformation? I mean, if enough of us actually walk this path, what's the collective result for the whole world? And this is the ultimate vision. The goal isn't just about individual salvation. It's about the moral and spiritual empowerment of the entire human family. It's about fostering what Baha'u'llah called a new race of men, and not in an ethnic sense, but a new kind of human being, one defined by their spiritual character and their ability to build a just and peaceful world. This right here is the end goal. This spiritual empowerment becomes the engine for the unification of humankind. The ultimate purpose is to finally heal all the divisions that have torn humanity apart, and to build a world that is truly founded on unity, justice, and peace. And that brings us right back to where we started, but with a whole new perspective. We began with that universal question about the purpose of life. These teachings offer a profound answer, but ultimately they turn the question right back to each one of us. So we'll end our explainer here. What is the purpose of your own spiritual journey?